Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. Josh here. Today I bring you 5 strategies that you can think about when dealing with anxiety or when you feel anxiety is kicking in. I'm going to speak pretty fast because I want this to be short and sweet, snappy, straight to the point, and to hold your attention. Firstly, what is anxiety? Think of anxiety like a message which has been with us since the beginning of time. Anxiety's message in previous times when we were running for our life was that. Anxiety was telling us, hey, you have a threat behind us, you need to run for your life. Anxiety sends us a signal, which is interchangeably with and to do with the stress response as well. Anxiety could mean, hey, you haven't found shelter for days, you are freezing, you need to find shelter or else you're going to die. The form of anxiety now, the message that anxiety brings in modern day living can appear in many different ways. The message can tell us many things. Usually it is, or let's list some common examples. Usually it's, hey, you are miserable in your job, you need to do something about it, or else I'm going to continue sending you this anxiety message until you change. Anxiety can appear in, hey, Josh, you haven't moved your body in months. You haven't exercised at all, and you know I'm designed to move, so please move me. Send you a signal to tell you to move. It can appear in, I'm miserable in my relationship. I'm unhappy. I wake up every morning and I do not want to be here. You need to change something. So anxiety can appear in many, many ways. It used to be for survival, but now it's a threat which potentially isn't there. And this is important because when anxiety does kick in, you want to be able to recognize the symptoms. You want to be able to recognize the messages when they do appear, instead of just ignoring it and thinking, oh, I just feel like crap. No, why? I listened to Josh's video. Why am I feeling like this? What do I need to change? Remember, when you change, or when anxiety is telling you to change, it is signaling to you to bring back homeostasis, to bring back equilibrium, to bring back balance to the body, to the mind. So that is anxiety. Let's begin with strategy number 1. The brain has a finite amount of bandwidth. Consider the brain the mind, consuming bandwidth like broadband. It's a good metaphor I use to be able to articulate this point. The bandwidth in the brain is like broadband. Now, if everyone was consuming a broadband, let's say there's 10 people in the house and everyone was trying to connect to the broadband, what would the Wi-Fi be like? The Wi-Fi would be slow. Inversely, if there was no one in the house and it was just you, the Wi-Fi would be fast. That's how the brain works. Not exactly like that, fast and slow, but there is a finite amount of bandwidth available. That's the key thing here. Finite amount of bandwidth available. Finite means incredibly small or small. When we're stressed, when we're anxious, when we have lots on our mind, uncertainty, conflict, worry, fear, this consumes a lot of bandwidth, which is why it's super hard to get out of your mind when you're in these states of, or in those negative feelings, negative emotions. Let's say negative in asterisks or brackets here. What's that? Asterisk, speech marks. Whatever the one, you know what I mean. Let's say you are, I've lost my point now. Yeah, let's say you're stressed, anxious, worried. It's incredibly hard to get out of that. And that's because it's taking up all the bandwidth in our mind. So point 1 is to increase the bandwidth in another way. The best way I recommend is getting outside, changing your environment. Now you can simply change rooms. Let's say I was here, I'm anxious, I'm not doing anything, change my environment. Okay, I could go to another room and let's see how that feels. But my best recommendation is to get outside, because when you get outside, you change the information coming into the brain. You change the sensory information coming in. You're receiving new senses. You're receiving new sensory information. You're walking, you're receiving optic flow. This is beautiful because it's replacing the stress, the anxiety, the worry with new bandwidth, with new information. And that's what we need to clear our mind, to get out of our own way. It might not solve the problem, but it can greatly mitigate it. So think of heavy stress, worry, bandwidth. You change your environment, walking around, you're seeing around, different smells, touch, taste, hear. Boom, replaces the bandwidth with new information. So that's the first one. When you are stuck in your head, anxious, change your environment. 2 is accessibility. Accessibility in terms of what do you have in your environment which can help you. Because a lot of the time, we want to be able to feel better straight away. Now let's use me, for example. What do I have in my environment? Well, I have a book. Do I want to read a book? I probably don't have much motivation to read right now. I do have a pen and a paper. Maybe I can start using that. Accessibility, what is around you? I have some water. And by the way, this isn't, okay, I have to stay here and just look around. Use your environment that you're in. But you want to think accessibility because it's quick. Accessibility equals quick. And when it equals quick, usually we can get out of our own way in a speedier way than something which isn't accessible, like going to a retreat or meeting up with your friend. These things take time. So we need to reduce that time and think of accessibility in your environment. So yeah, I have water. How much water have I had today? Not much. I drink some water. Do I start to feel better? You use your environment because, like I just said, accessibility equals speed. Things that take too much time out of your day, naturally, we're not going to feel better as quick. Now, this is arguably a point which people would say, well, you really want to, do what you've got to do to feel better. But I like speed and I like to feel better. I like to feel better in my mind. I want to escape my mind pretty quickly. So I want you to think accessibility, look around your environment. What do you have? Okay, there's my phone. I can call my friend. I have some water. Perfect. Pen and paper. Use what you have. That's the term in business. Use what you got. Use what you have got. And it's going to help you in a much quicker way than taking hours out of your day to get to that yoga class or a retreat. But they're still as important. But point 2 is to think accessibility. 3 is breathing. Breathing is one of those things we have access to straight away. Breathing is accessible. Breathing regulates your autonomic nervous system within the first 2 to 5 minutes. Think of sympathetic, which is high intensity, adrenaline, fight and flight, heavy, those negative, anxiety, stressful emotions. Parasympathetic is rest, digest, assimilation of food, calm, relaxation. Everything's a bit more balanced still. What breathing does is switches from the sympathetic to the parasympathetic, just from the simple act of nose breathing. When you inhale, the body sends a signal to the brain sends the signal back down, telling the heart rate to speed up. This is important, by the way. When you exhale, the body sends a signal to the brain, the heart specifically. Brain sends a signal back down to the heart rate, telling it to slow down. This is called heart rate variability. This is happening literally right now as you're watching this video. But this is the key thing here. If you're anxious, you want to slow down the heart rate. You want to put more emphasis on the exhale. What I really like to do is a simple inhale for 4 seconds through the nose, and then an 8-second exhalation. So it's a double exhalation. And this should help still those heavy feelings, those thoughts, anxiety, uncertainty, conflict in your mind within the first 2 to 5 minutes. By the way, check out Purvida Wellness Experience. There are loads of sessions on there. But if you want something today to take away, inhale for 4, exhale for 8 for about, I always recommend about 5 minutes, but 2 to 5 minutes. 2 minutes if you're short on time, 5 minutes, beautiful. So point 3 is breathing. 4 is to break the ingredients down. Think of cooking. When you're cooking, you don't start cooking and the dish is already made. When you're cooking, you have to add one ingredient at a time. One ingredient at a time. It might be, the first ingredient might be onion. Well, actually, let's take it a step back. The first ingredient to make a great dish could be turning up the heat. That's ingredient 1. Ingredient 2 could be then putting oil in the pan. Ingredient 3, waiting a few minutes. Ingredient 4, onions. So when you are stuck in a position of not growing, stuck in a position of anxiousness, stress, heavy ruminating, the last thing you want to be doing is thinking 20 steps ahead, thinking about the dish already cooked. No. Take it a step back. Think, what is my ingredient? What is my first ingredient which will help me move forward? What's the first ingredient? For example, if you are stuck in your head and you know you like writing, the first ingredient could be you setting the intention of picking up that pen, bringing it to you. This isn't trivial. This is super important because what happens when you complete a task, you get a spike of dopamine. Dopamine will increase the motivation to do more of that thing. Dopamine will increase the motivation to do more of that thing. This is so important because the first step will allow progression to the next step and then the next step. This is why we have to break down our resistance of change until the change that is the most achievable. Did that make sense? Break down the resistance of change until you find a change that is achievable. That's the key thing. So when you're anxious, when you're next anxious, when you feel anxiety kicking in, what is my first step? What is my first ingredient to get me out of this situation? If it's walking, where are my shoes? If it's writing, where is my pen? When did I last eat? Make sure you go and have a little nibble of something. What is your first ingredient? That is point 4. Then point 5 is to keep going. We have 2 choices, really, in this life. Whatever we are going through, whatever is in front of us, a task, homework, anxiety, stress, happiness, joy, whatever is in front of us, we have 2 choices. We can either stop or we keep going. Or give up, stop, keep going, whatever you want to call that first one. I call it stop. We can either stop or keep going. For context, I could stop this video right now and not have content to post out because I couldn't really be bothered to do it, but I stuck with it. Or I keep going. Keep going always has a better outcome. So whatever you're going through right now, let me tell you a quick story actually. I was training a guy called Anthony, amazing guy, has Parkinson's, was an avid runner, has done 22 marathons, a really good skier. And over time, I've been training him for 4 years, or previously I had. Over time, he started to get worse and worse. Parkinson's is pretty debilitating. I hated seeing it happen, but he's such a cool guy, very positive. And after a training session one day, I think we were doing boxing. And I said to him, do you ever feel down that you can't do you can't do the activities that you previously could? And he said, yeah, a lot of the time, but I do get out of that mindset pretty quickly. And I asked, how do you escape that mindset? He said, I have 2 choices. I either stop or I keep going. Keep going will always have a better outcome for me. Crazy. So the next time I was whinging about something, I was like, man, perspective. This guy has Parkinson's and I'm whinging about my flat white is cold. Black coffee. So yes, we have 2 choices. Stop or keep going. If you're anxious right now, if you're stressed, if you have a lot going on, I believe in you. Don't stop. Because stopping, you just fall deeper into those heavy emotions. If you keep going and take 1 foot or 1 step forward, 1 foot in front of the other, then there's light at the end of the tunnel. Keep going will help you progress. Stopping will regress. Stop, regression, keep going, progression. Keep that in mind when you're next in those states: heaviness, stress, anxiety, worry, ruminating, uncertainty, fear. For anxiety, the context for today is anxiety. Ask yourself, what do I do? Either stop or keep going. What are my 2 options? They're my 2 options. Well, keep going has a brighter future. Stopping has a darker one. Pick keep going. Whatever you do, don't stop. I believe in you. Keep going. So when you're next feeling those emotions, ask yourself, stop or keep going. And the light or the answer should appear more clear for you. Thank you for your time. Remember to subscribe. Posting every day for 100 days on YouTube. I have no idea what day I am on, but I have to keep up the steps forward. What do I do? Stop or keep going?